Have you ever been crushed by a moment so humiliating, so painfully embarrassing, that it made you question who you are as a man? Have you ever replayed it over and over in your mind, wondering why it happened and if you'll ever fully recover? You're not alone. Every man, no matter how strong, no matter how successful, faces moments that humble him, moments that sting his pride, moments that seem to echo with shame. These are the silent battles few talk about, but every true man knows them deep in his bones. And yet, it's not the humiliation that defines you. It's what you choose to do next. In this video, we're going to walk through the 10 most humiliating moments every man faces. And more importantly, I'll show you how to rise stronger after each one. You'll hear ancient wisdom from history's greatest men. You'll feel the truth of timeless Bible verses that speak directly to the soul of a warrior. And you'll discover why every fall you survive, every shame you outgrow, is actually forging you into something rarer, something more powerful than you ever imagined, a real man. Because the greatest kings, warriors, and leaders of history weren't made by comfort. They were made by humiliation, and by the fire they chose to walk through without giving up. Proverbs 24:16 says, "For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. You were born to rise again and again and again." So if you've ever felt crushed by life, if you've ever felt like your dignity was shattered, if you've ever wanted to quit because the humiliation felt unbearable, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you won't just feel stronger. You'll know that you were built for something greater than what tried to break you. Make sure to like this video, share it with a brother who needs encouragement, subscribe for more deep and powerful advice, and drop a comment below, telling us which moment hits you the hardest. Your journey matters. Let's rise together. Chapter 1. Failing in front of everyone and refusing to let it define you. There's a particular kind of humiliation that leaves a mark on a man's soul: public failure. Standing in front of others, a team, a family, a community, and falling flat. Maybe it's a business deal that crumbles. Maybe it's a speech that goes wrong. Maybe it's a decision you thought was right, but everything collapses and all eyes are on you. In that moment, the world feels smaller. Your heart pounds, and you wish you could disappear. Throughout history, even the greatest leaders have faced this brutal test. Take Abraham Lincoln, for example, a man who is remembered today as one of the greatest presidents in history. What few remember is how many public humiliations he endured before reaching greatness. He lost multiple elections. He was mocked openly. His political career seemed over several times. But Lincoln carried one principle that few men fully embrace. The fall was never final. Each loss, each humiliation, was a step in building the quiet, unstoppable force that history would later recognize. And that's the truth about public failure. It reveals who you are becoming, not who you are. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." The reason failure stings so deeply is because pride is involved. We imagine ourselves as capable, strong, and wise, and when the world sees our weakness, it terrifies us. But here's the deeper wisdom: your weakness is not your enemy. Your weakness is your invitation to humility, to courage, to trust in something greater than yourself. When a man fails publicly, he has 2 options. He can be crushed by the weight of others' opinions, or he can be shaped by the fire, learning a strength that doesn't need applause to survive. Winston Churchill, another titan of history, once said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Your humiliations, if you survive them with honor, make you dangerous in the best way. Because once you stop fearing the judgment of others, you become free." You can walk into new battles, new challenges, new opportunities, knowing that public failure does not define you, it refines you. The world respects men who get back up more than men who never fall. And God honors the man who trusts him even when his own plans fall apart. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." The next time you fail in front of everyone, remember, the applause or mockery of the crowd means nothing. What matters is what God is building in you through the fire. Walk through it, endure it, rise from it, because when you do, you'll walk lighter, no longer chained by the need to appear perfect, and heavier with the deep, immovable weight of real manhood. Drop a comment below. Have you ever failed in front of others but kept going anyway? Tell us your story and inspire another man to rise. Chapter 2. Being rejected and learning that it doesn't diminish your worth. Few experiences slice into a man's spirit like rejection. It doesn't matter if it's a job offer, a business proposal, a woman you loved, or a dream you fought for. When someone or something you value says no to you, it feels deeply personal. It stirs up hidden fears. Am I not good enough? Am I lacking something? Was I a fool for believing I could have it? Rejection whispers lies into a man's soul, lies that if he listens to them long enough, can hollow him out from the inside. But here's the truth that separates strong men from broken men. Rejection is a test, not a verdict. Theodore Roosevelt, one of the most rugged, resilient leaders America ever produced, knew this well. Before he became president, he faced brutal personal losses. His wife and mother died within hours of each other. He faced political betrayal and personal attack. Time after time, the doors he thought would open slammed shut in his face. But Roosevelt didn't crumble. He retreated to the Badlands. He rebuilt his body, his spirit, and his mind. And when he returned, he was no longer a politician seeking approval. He was a force of nature, a man who had met rejection, survived it, and become unbreakable because of it. The Bible says in Romans 8:31, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" Rejection hurts because it challenges our idea of worth. But real worth isn't defined by acceptance, it's defined by purpose. When a door closes, when a person leaves, when a dream collapses, it's not necessarily the world telling you you're worthless. Often it's God clearing the path so that you stop chasing what is not yours and start stepping into what is. Every man you admire, every titan of strength, leadership, and legacy faced rejection, and not just once, over and over again. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison before becoming a symbol of freedom and unity. David, before becoming king, was rejected by his own family and hunted by Saul like an animal in the wilderness. And still, they endured. The only men who are defeated by rejection are the men who believe it defines them. But the man who learns from it, who refines himself through it, who keeps his eyes fixed on his deeper purpose, that man becomes unstoppable. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." You were never meant to build your identity on the approval of others. Your value is rooted in something eternal, not temporary opinions or temporary losses. When rejection comes, and it will, let it teach you, let it harden your determination, let it soften your pride, but never, ever let it steal your sense of purpose. You are still called, you are still chosen, you are still meant to build, lead, create, protect, and rise. Drop a comment below. Have you faced rejection that hurt you deeply, but later saw how it made you stronger? Tell us your story and encourage another man who needs to hear it. Chapter 3. Losing control and discovering true strength through surrender. There's a humiliation few men talk about, but every man knows. The moment life spirals out of your hands. It might be the collapse of a career you built from the ground up. It might be a marriage you poured your soul into, now crumbling despite everything you tried. It might be a personal crisis, a health battle, a betrayal, a financial disaster. Suddenly you realize all the strength you thought you had isn't enough. All the plans you made, they've fallen apart. And you stand there, helpless, exposed, defeated. For a man, few feelings are more humiliating than realizing he is not in control. And yet, if you listen closely, that humiliation carries a hidden gift. The realization that your strength was never supposed to come from yourself alone. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, faced plague, war, betrayal, and loss on a scale few men could comprehend. In his meditations, he often wrote about accepting the limits of his control, focusing instead on his character, his duty, his resilience. Aurelius understood a truth that Christianity later revealed fully. Real power comes not from gripping tighter, but from surrendering, not to despair, but to something greater than yourself. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." When you lose control, or when everything you built is falling apart, you are being invited into the deeper work of manhood. You are being stripped of illusions. You are being prepared to lead, not through domination, but through wisdom, not through force, but through faith. Men who refuse to acknowledge their limits are brittle. They shatter when life hits hard enough. But men who accept their limits, who learn to trust, to bend, to seek strength beyond themselves, those men become unbreakable. The story of Job in the Bible is a brutal, beautiful example. Job was wealthy, respected, and blessed. And in a series of devastating blows, he lost everything: family, fortune, health. He was humiliated before the world. And yet, in his suffering, he discovered a deeper relationship with God. A strength not rooted in circumstances, but in faith. At the end of his trial, Job was restored. But more importantly, he was transformed. This is what life does to every man who endures the fire with faith. It burns away the pride, it burns away the illusion of control, and it leaves behind a man who cannot be bought, broken, or manipulated, because his foundation is not built on sand, it is built on rock. If you're facing a moment right now where you feel powerless, where life feels out of control, know this: you are not being punished. You are being prepared. Psalm 18:2 says, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold." It's not your job to control everything. It's your job to stand, to trust, to endure, and to rise, stronger, wiser, and more unshakable than ever before. Drop a comment below. Have you ever lost control of a part of your life and later realized it made you a better, stronger man? Share your story. You never know who needs your encouragement. Chapter 4. Being betrayed and learning how to rise without bitterness. One of the cruelest humiliations a man can endure is betrayal. Not the attacks of enemies, but the treachery of friends, family, or loved ones. The people you trusted most turning their backs on you. The ones you defended becoming the ones who wound you. When betrayal strikes, it's more than a personal hurt. It feels like a collapse of reality itself. You question your judgment, you question your worth. You even question whether you can trust anyone again. Betrayal can harden a man if he lets it. It can make him cynical, angry, bitter, or it can refine him into something greater than he ever imagined. Throughout history, some of the greatest men have faced betrayal at the hands of those closest to them. Julius Caesar was assassinated by senators he considered friends, even his own protege, Brutus. Jesus Christ was betrayed by one of his own disciples, Judas, with a kiss. And yet, both Caesar and Christ left behind legacies far greater than their betrayers, because betrayal, as devastating as it is, does not have the final word. Psalm 41:9 says, "Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me." God understands betrayal. He sees the pain it causes, and he calls men not to deny the hurt, but to rise above it. Here's the secret strong men know. Bitterness is the real destroyer, not betrayal. The man who holds on to hatred, who lets his heart become poisoned, who swears to never trust or love again, that man chains himself to his past wounds. He becomes a prisoner, living under the shadow of what was done to him. But the man who forgives, not because the betrayal was excusable, but because he refuses to stay a victim, that man becomes free. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending the betrayal didn't happen. It doesn't mean trusting the betrayer again. It doesn't mean you have to keep certain people in your life. Forgiveness simply means you refuse to carry the weight of hatred any longer. You refuse to let your heart be ruled by wounds. Romans 12:19 says, "Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, 'It is mine to avenge, I will repay,' says the Lord." When you are betrayed, it is not your job to settle the score. It is your job to heal, to rise, and to move forward, trusting that justice belongs to God and strength belongs to those who refuse to stay down. Betrayal can either break you permanently, or it can build a deeper strength in you than you ever thought possible. It teaches you discernment. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you to trust carefully, but to love fiercely, without letting your soul be corrupted by the evil of others. And when you rise from betrayal, not bitter but better, you become the kind of man this world desperately needs. A man who is wise, courageous, faithful, and free. 2 Timothy 4:16-17 says, "At my first defense, no one came to my support, but everyone deserted me. May it not be held against them, but the Lord stood at my side and gave me strength." You are never truly alone, even when others turn their backs, and your destiny is not determined by the loyalty of others. It is determined by the strength you build in the fires of adversity. Forgive, let go, and rise stronger, because your future is far greater than the betrayal you left behind. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been betrayed, but chose to forgive and rise stronger? Share your wisdom. Another man needs to hear how you overcame. Life will humble every man, not because you're weak, not because you're a failure, but because the journey to becoming the man you were meant to be requires a refining fire. You will fail, you will be rejected, you will lose control, you will be betrayed, but none of these humiliations are meant to destroy you. They are meant to carve you into something unshakable, something eternal. Every great man in history has walked through the valley of humiliation and rose stronger on the other side. They did not become legends because they avoided pain. They became legends because they refused to be defined by it. The Bible reminds us in James 1:2-4, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." You are not alone in your silent battles. You are not alone in your moments of shame, of loss, of brokenness. These are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a deeper strength, a wiser heart, a higher calling. Refuse to stay down. Refuse to let humiliation define you. Stand up, rise stronger, build a life that even your failures cannot tear down. And when you rise, reach back for another man who is still in the fire. Because strength is not just for survival. Strength is meant to be shared. If this message spoke to you today, make sure to like this video, share it with a man who needs encouragement, subscribe to the channel for more powerful content, and drop a comment below sharing one powerful moment when you rose stronger after being humbled. Your story could be the reason another man refuses to quit. Keep rising. Your best days are still ahead.